Hi, Mark McNutt here. I'm going to be talking about the upcoming astrological update. And welcome to my office. This is springtime. This is the bell times, the good times, and here we are in the outdoor environment here at Living Well to talk about the stellar happenings and how they affect life on Earth. Today, we're going to be talking about the solar eclipse on April 30th, the lunar eclipse 2 weeks later. We're also going to be talking about Mercury retrograde because y'all are interested in that, and Venus conjunct Jupiter going on right now. So all of this brings a spirit of fecundness, of fertility, and real potential for amazing things this spring, and I'm really excited. Okay, so let's do it one square at a time. Before I do that, I should mention this is an outpouring of my heart, and I don't do this for Patreon. This is a different style that we're doing here, and basically I am promoting the fact I do readings, and I want to do personal readings for people and continue with that livelihood, more so than have you send me a buck on Patreon or whatever. I'd rather have 500 good subscribers than 10,000 that are not, So, so I wanted to make sure to say that and move on. So new moon. The new moon is always a new beginning time, and this particular new moon is on April 30th at about noonish, a little bit afternoon, and us at our West Coast time. And it's also a solar eclipse. I hear sometimes from people that are like, it's a new moon and... No, it's a solar eclipse and a new moon. New moon happens every month, but a solar eclipse happens every 6 months and can only happen at the new moon. Full moon under an eclipse is always follows or comes right before the new moon. So, what's this one about? Well, it's happening right about May 1st, really April 30th, and it's about, it's in Taurus, and so with the sun and moon in Taurus, it's a time, certainly a time to plant your garden. It's a powerful time for connecting with the Earth. Earth Day was created in 1970 on April 22nd because that's time period when the sun went into Taurus, and it was probably a new moon on the first one and all that. The people that did that knew that. And so this is a powerful conjunction, a powerful coming together of really intense, strong elements that are going to make a difference in your life. Why? Because it's also, in addition to the sun and moon, Uranus will also be nearby, also in Taurus. And Uranus in Taurus has to do with the unexpected, the unusual, and coming out of the blue. Taurus is usually associated with just slogging along, being very methodically earth plane. But Uranus and Taurus conjunct the sun and moon, that's going to flip things around for you in ways that you had least expected. So the wonderful thing about expecting the unexpected is it's unexpected. So you can't stare at the door and wait for the energy to come in. It's going to be sneaking in through the window and surprise attack. So prepare for all this unexpected change in your life by being open to it rather than having your mind made up. So this is a time of really powerful potential, and the potential gravitating to Earth. That's really important. Sometimes the potential is just up in our heads. And the thing about Taurus energy is it's really, really earthy, really grounded. So ground your dreams at this time, because we've just come out of Jupiter conjunct Neptune over the weekend, and they were both in Pisces, and lately it's been a time shifting from the dream time into taking action. That was last month. And then now moving into what is your new foundation, your new root. Set your standards for this year, because it is real potent time. Can you see this particular eclipse? Probably not. There is a map on the NASA website that has to do with the solar and lunar eclipses, and it actually shows where they're going to proceed from, where the totality is, where the path is. For, you can call it up for the next 20 years if you want. It's very informational. So if you want to see the visual on that, go to the NASA website. And also the lunar eclipse is same map for 2 weeks from now. A lunar eclipse has to do with the full expansion of potential and moves a lot of emotional energy. So you can imagine a lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is also known as lunar Beltane, happens in the middle of the month, and Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio, and we're going to experience a whole bunch of emotions rising to the surface and coming to a peak around the 16th or so of May. So right now, as I speak, we're at the tail end of the dark days of the lunar month, which turns into that eclipse on April 30th in the afternoon. And what's important about that is the 3.5 days before a new moon, and especially a solar eclipse, is a powerful time for going inside ourselves. It's also a time when you might really be feeling whatever unresolved issues are in place. If that's the case, hopefully we'll get this out to you before the eclipse, and my advice is to use that time to complete loose ends and to be aware of the flip that's going to go on, because I think it's not just going to be like, oh wow, new moon. I think it's going to be take us by surprise in ways we hadn't imagined. So I mentioned that Jupiter and Neptune were conjunct last week. They're still a little conjunct, it's sort of like going in and out of a vibe. So that still exists, and that has been powerful for dream time and for an abundance of possibility. Now, in these last days, the April 27th through 30th, Venus conjuncts Jupiter, and they're both in Pisces, with lesser effect of Venus conjunct Neptune, triple conjunction. Boy, that's a really great time for social life, for reaching out to others, for rekindling and coming out of the caves that we felt over the last couple of years, and to reach out socially and to reach out into our psychic connections as well. So who do you want to connect with in your psychic network? That would be a powerful theme now as well. So the other most important category I should mention without passing by it is the all-important Mercury retrograde. Mercury also in Taurus right now, and what happens is Mercury has to do with the mind and communication. And those of you that are adept on your smartphones and on your communication skills in the electronic ways, usually the EMF, the electronic signatures, get a little wacky during Mercury retrograde. So it's generally not a great time for focus of the mind. It's more like focus of the spirit. Some of us were born with Mercury retrograde, and those of us who are, including myself, are usually very intuitive rather than rational people, and we work well with the challenge of Mercury retrograde because it is just so natural for us. So it's not like everybody's brain melts under Mercury retrograde. The catch, though, is that if 80% of everybody you know is suffering from the effects of brain melt and of disassociation and of their smartphones crapping out or whatever, the other 20% of us that are really excited by this time and writing lots of poetry and music and writing our great American novel or whatever, those of us, or doing astrology intuitively, those of us really know how to rock this time that's coming up. And that time is from, gonna have to look at numbers because it's not Mercury retrograde yet, Mercury enters Gemini on the 29th of April, and it's retrograde from May 8th to June 1st. And so during that time, when Mercury's retrograde, us Mercury retrograde people will be very focused, and then we'll be communicating with people who are not Mercury retrograde and are, more challenged by this time. So I just want to say the Mercury retrograde is wonderful for intuition, for psychic energy, for rebooting our inner consciousness there. So I'm excited about these themes. I'm excited about the new moon in Taurus. It's not necessarily my particular strong aspects, but it's very formidable, very powerful in the wave. Uranus is going to be full of surprises and take us for a loop, maybe, or just provide opportunities that we hadn't seen coming. It's like we're looking at the front door and it comes in through the back window. And Venus conjunct Jupiter will occur over the next week or so, and very exact at the time of the eclipse. Venus conjunct Jupiter will be like, just think about those opportunities. Check in psychically, check in energetically, not so much with your mind, but with your spirit, and fertile ground for all that. And that Mercury retrograde is really useful for rebooting your mind, for clearing the slate, for moving into something new. So you look at these combinations of these things, and as Venus also will be going into Aries in a few days around the new moon time as well. Venus and Aries, new beginnings with the heart, with the emotions, with our social life, with our love life, and with the people we know. So that's a very brief overview. Each person is an individual. It's all different for each one. And astrology is not cookie cutter. It's not just a list of attributes. It's individual oriented. So looking forward to talking to you soon as you get your next reading, or I also love to have comments on this and love to share what I know. So thank you very much for allowing me to share. This Mercury retrograde person is done speaking for this time period, and hope to see you check in very soon. And happy spring. Plant your garden from April 30th on. Really powerful. Okay, enjoyed the fertility.